Hello. Um, Let me just go look on my channel and see if this is working. Well, that is not the thumbnail that I wanted it to have. Let me see if I can fix that. Okay. It's being weird about the thumbnail, but not a big deal. Uh, I'm gonna check my audio here. Okay. Now, I don't have chat overlay, but I do have chat in my OBS, so I'll be able to read messages from there. Uh, and I guess let's just get started. So, what I'm going to be doing today is something that I've wanted to do in GameMaker Studio for quite a while, um, which is to create a chess engine. And I once created something similar in Unity. I never finished that project, but this was maybe 4 years ago. Um, I wanted to create um, essentially a chess-esque game, like almost think of like Fire Emblem, how you play through um, like the battles or whatever, like you pass through an area in the overworld, and then you fight when you encounter somebody on a tile. I wanted to do that with different like pieces having different ways of movement. Um, Ultimately, I never got very far in that project. Today, I'm aiming for something that is a little bit more well established, which is just chess. Um, so, the first thing I'm going to do is make a tile set. Chess 2. That's uh that's one way to think of it. Okay, so let me get my GIMP pulled up. Uh that is my Discord. I'll cut that out of the VOD. uh all right, here's my GIMP. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is make a tile set. Um for those who don't know, tile sets in GameMaker for some reason seem to always want the first tile to be transparent. So that is not what I wanted. I did not add an alpha channel. All right. So we're going to take the first 32 by 32 region here. That's going to be transparent. Next one, go to I think that I made that one pixel too wide. So let me just fix that. All right, and then that I will just export. I know you guys can't see the export process, which is fine. All right, I've got the tile set file exported. That's a long time to be waiting for chess 2. This is like 500 years since 1600 or 1700, or I forget how the century thing works. The 16th century, that would be 1500. Okay, so we're gonna add a tile layer in here. Uh, oh, right. First we should make the tiles. Okay, so first we make a sprite. Uh, and then we're gonna go ahead and import all right, so now that should be ready as a sprite, and then we make the tile set sprite. We're going to use the, oh, I put it in rooms. Did not mean to do that. That goes in sprites. All right. Uh, not 16 by 16, 32 by 32. I may scale this down to 16 by 16 when I do the pixel art for the pieces. I'm gonna make a light brown background. It's a little bit gross at the moment, but we'll fix that when we fix it. I don't know what I'm actually going to put in the background. I'll probably make this semi 3D at some point. But for now, we will just lay out the chessboard. And actually, let's scale down the room size to not be this big. So if each piece is 32 by 32 and there's 8 pieces, that's 256 by 256. Hope I did that right. Yep, that's correct. Okay. And then something I do not know is whether it matters if I put the white or black in the top left corner. I'm looking at images of chessboards, and I think it just depends on how the chessboard is rotated. So to start off, I think we will have facing towards the screen be white, which means the top left corner should be white. So we will fill all of this in with black and oops. Now what I'm not, the real problem at the heart of this that I'm still thinking about, that I still don't know exactly how I'm going to solve, is the I'm going to give a little space off of the board too, now that I think about it, because I think that'll look nicer, and maybe we can have some GUI elements that don't float over the board at some point in the future. So I think I'll just kick it up by 64 on both sides, which should be through 20. Oops, that's not what I meant to click. Ah, right, okay. That does screw everything a little bit. Can I change the offset of the layer? I cannot. Okay. Yeah, you know what? We'll just worry about that later. Later. Since I'm not going to be using that area right now anyways. Oops. Oh. Alright. Another thing that could end up being done later is possibly, depending on how I decide to do checking for legal moves, I may end up splitting the white and black tiles into two separate tile layers. But uh, I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to need to do that yet. So, yeah, for now, let's just run the game and we should just get a window. And I do want to check if this shows on the stream, which it does. It shows in the top left corner, but it is a little bit stretched in an unfortunate way. So I'm gonna, okay, we'll just put, I think I'm just gonna remove this source and re-add it because I tested this with the other game that I'm working on, which is, surprise, surprise, not just a perfect square. Uh, so we'll grab, oh, okay, it's stretched in the window. It's not stretched on my thing, so it was actually fine the first time. So let's fix that now, actually. I think that would be under preferences, general settings. No, wait. No, that's I'm being crazy. Okay. What we need is um there's multiple ways to do this, but I'm just going to do the way that I'm used to, which is I'm just going to make a game manager object. Uh, that's nice and familiar. I've got an extensive game manager object in my other projects. So we'll just slide that onto here, the instance layer, and then this, of course, will be created when the game starts up. And so we can add code to our create event, location, size, sorry, surface, resize, applications, surface. Um, and then probably we'll just start with 640 by 640, but I think that's going to be too small. I only see part of why I'm doing this stream now and never before. Oh, okay. What's interesting is I think maybe the whole application is the size that I specified, 640 by 640, not just the actual chessboard. And that means I would have to account for how large the little, like, there's a header on top of this application that you guys can't see. It's definitely weird seeing my mouse warp around the screen on OBS, though. Um, so I think we'll just Yeah, we'll give it a more standard aspect ratio, I suppose, and then we'll just expand the screen. So 720 by 10, or well, 1080 by 720. Not 1080, 1280 by 720. All right, and that makes the chessboard a little bit small. Maybe we cut that in half. That would be 360 by 640. Where did all of our tiles go? Okay, that's fine. And then we'll, okay, that looks better. So let me just scale this up on the, I guess actually I'll just make the window larger because it's a little bit small on my screen. I uh, I just got a new computer, um, so I'm not used to having, I think this has a 4K display, which is just insane to me. Um, really, I'm still used to using a 1080. So make this 1440 by 1280 times 2, 2 2560, 1440 by 2560. Okay. No, 2560 would be the width. 14. But not in here, it's not. Okay, right. Then we make the actual application 1440 by 2560. My trackpad is not liking me today. All right, now let's see how this looks, and I'll okay, put this in the center of the screen on OBS. But I don't, no, that's not the function that actually makes it the application surface larger, right? So uh, we want to go into preferences. I think, is it platform settings? No, it's not platform settings. Okay. Output windows. Okay, this is not for that. Oh, is it, I think, like right click in here to, no? There's some way that you open projects. Oh, it's right here, isn't it? There we go. Okay, that's for Mac OS. Okay. I can't remember how to do this at the moment. It's been a really long time since I've set up a project initially. So I've just been working on one game for the past several years. Uh, this actually is for that game, but I figured that I could get, something more out of it by also streaming the development, so I just made it as a separate project and then I'll import the code later. Um, well, that definitely did not do it, but okay. I think now we will worry about creating the piece instances. I don't have actually sprites pre-made for this. I figured I could make sprites maybe on stream at a later time. I'm not really in the mood for that right now. So let's just pop open Gimp and make something placeholdery. Uh, okay. Oh, wait, that's not right. Um, and we will have transparency this time. All right. So we'll just start off with our pawn. This looks phallic, but it's the pawn. And then we'll actually make these. You know what I'll do actually? Let's reopen the chess tile set. I want to make this not be actually black and white, and instead it can be like I don't know, more like what you typically see on a chessboard of like dark brown, and then we'll do a light gray. There, that looks nice. That looks a lot better. So we will actually just re-import that into the game. All right. So now we can just make our um, oh, you know what? I'm gonna put the stream link in my Discord. Hang on real quick. The Underdogs have uploaded a new video. It's my favorite YouTube channel. Uh, the ranking the hottest Shrek characters. I approve. All right. Now that I've got that sorted out, let's do the pieces, and I think we will just make the white set and then invert the colors on that to make the black set. Uh, put this light gray as the background color on this. Because having a background color on the sprites will make it a lot easier to create the full tile set of them. Like I said, this is a very placeholder thing. So this should automatically give us the yep, the same dimensions. All right. We'll need a rook. I think they have like some pointy things or something. All right, this looks great. This looks great. This is going in such a good direction, you guys. I swear I am actually good at pixel art, but not when I'm in a rush, okay? Up next, we will make the knight. So this one's going to be hard to design a sprite for because I want to make the pieces be seen from like a back view, but I'm afraid that it's going to be difficult to properly convey the knight. For now, I will just do it from a side view because, like I said, this is just a placeholder. Wow, he's got a long nose. That's like what's his face? The teacher from Arthur. I'll give him a little smiley face. He needs a pupil. I guess it's hard making. There we go. That's great. That should just be the final knight sprite. I see no problem with this. Okay. Uh, up next, we'll make bishop. So we'll give the bishop what it has a ball, and then like that kind of a shape, and then I think it goes down. It's like a little person. Actually, it's just like a dude standing there. I'll give it little feet and a little hat. And there's our bishop. Uh, then we need. Now are we just down to the king and queen? I think we are. So the king. One of them has the little cross on the top. Uh, and one of them has three balls. I think the king has a cross and the queen has three balls. I've started defining a line here in the two newest sprites, even though I was not doing that originally. But it's fine. They're placeholder sprites. These are absolutely going to be in the final game, I promise you. Okay, and then finally, last and definitely not least, is the queen. Oops, I just unfull screened that. Can you still see it? Yes. All right, so the queen gets the three balls and a bong. This one just looks like a person also. This one has a straight face though. He might have a little bit of a clown hat on, but he takes everything seriously. He even gets a little angry eyebrow. I'm calling the queen a he. This is something else. Here, I'll give it a little eye. Yeah, this is just a person. Okay, this is perfect. I don't think this could possibly be any better. So now, how many of these dudes do we have? We've got 6, and then we'll need 1 for transparency. So we'll make it 4 by 2. Image. Where's canvas size? Right. 28 by 64. Uh, Offset by 32 so that we have that one transparent block. Okay. The bishop, this is something else. Oh man, and then when we have an unused tile in the tile set, we gotta. Or wait, we're not actually using this as a tile set, so we can change. We'll put the queen up here, and I think there's no bottom to the. Yeah, well, that's fine. Here, we will bring the knight down. I think I got it the right dimensions. I don't think I got it the right dimensions. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. And then the queen, right, the one that I put up there was the king, not the queen. Okay. So now it will be 3 by 2 instead. 6. And now we will just grab the little magic wand and. All right. And didn't get these two. Okay. So we got the white pieces, and then we're gonna just colors invert the black pieces. That one definitely feels like it's got a pretty sharp contrast, but it's fine. And now we're gonna close out of Gimp again. So we're back into GameMaker Studio, and we will import the two images. Oops, I accidentally clicked on edit image instead of import. All right. Now what we need to do is to split this. Is this right? Is this how this works? No. Okay. I will import the white pieces and then I will figure out how to um, slice the sprites because it's been a hot second since I've done that. Hmm. Okay. probably in here somewhere, right? Oh, was I supposed to import strip image? Maybe that's how I was. Oh, convert to frames. This should be able to do it. All right, there we go. Looking good. And then we'll do the same thing for the black pieces. Edit image, image, convert to frames. Perfect. Okay, so the next things we'll do, um, we will create an object for the pieces. This object will have two built-in variables. As you can tell, there's absolutely no consistency to my naming conventions. I just fly by the seat of my pants. Uh, okay, variable definitions. We'll add a team. 0 will be white, 1 will be black. We'll add an identifier. Okay, ID is a built-in variable, isn't it? That's not the best way to describe it, is it? Because the identifier is where it starts on the board, so we'll make it start position. And then we will give it type. Okay. So type, I'd really rather take a string in instead of having to create and memorize a conversion table for the name of the piece to the type value. So that's how we'll do that. Create. Yeah, I don't want to use GML visual, probably ever. So on create, we are going to assign it a sprite based upon its team, and then we will tell it which frame to use based upon the piece type. So this full screen. Team equals 0, then set, is it set sprite or I don't actually remember. I don't think I've set sprites through code before. Set sprite index. I think we can just set sprite index, can't we? Guess what type is sprite index? We'll just pass it this and see what happens. And then let us actually drag an instance of this object into the room and run the game and see what happens. Did not mean to click there. Okay. No sprite to be seen. Where did the object go, though? That's the question. Did it not actually land here? No, it did. It did. Oh, it's not snapped to the grid, which isn't my favorite thing ever. Okay, variables, yeah, so it defaults to team 0, which means there's something wrong with my code if it's not doing what I want it to do. Okay, it does snap to the grid. It just looks like it doesn't. Also, do we even have an instance? I swear that I put an instance in here of Game Manager, but I guess I didn't. Maybe that's why I was having the weird resolution issue. Oh, wow! That's not my favorite. You guys see this? Look at that. Let's just go to the Game Manager and just have it automatically go full screen. Oops, not at full screen. Ah, lovely. Okay. Let me just get onto here and wow, it is not scaled correctly at all. Hmm. Okay, that looks weird for you guys when I do that, so I'm not going to do that. Just don't remember how to make it so that the user can resize the surface, because that would be nice if I could do that. Alright, we're gonna just hit play and I'll fix the scaling on this again, because I'm sure I messed it up in OBS. Yeah. Okay. Let me just look up how to do this again. 1 second. Hmm. Okay, so it is setting the sprite correctly. Are the oh, the tiles are on top of the instances. That is such a rookie mistake. Okay. Well, that's a little embarrassing, but whatever. We can see here that it is rendering correctly. And as for why it does that, that is what I was expecting it to do. So, yeah. That is because the animation speed on the sprites is not set to 0. I thought of that as I was building the game the first time, and I was just like, yeah, whatever. So we will go to, where on earth is that? Here it is. We set it to 0 frames per second. And now when we run it, we should just get the white king. What is chess? Wouldn't you like to know? Okay, so now we just need to make it so that we can assign the piece type to this. So let me just open up a notepad real quick so I can write down which frame each piece is on. 0 is king, 1 is pawn, 2 is rook, 3 is Bishop 4 is knight, and 5 is queen. Okay, now we go back into our code. And once that is done, we will, if, what did I call that variable? Piece type? I think it's probably called piece type. I guess I called it type, maybe? Just look at the object again. This is why I want you all to do as I say, not as I do. And what I say is you need to come up with a consistent naming scheme for your variables and for your objects. What I do is not that. Okay, so type equals queen, or king is the first one, I guess, so I'll do it that way. Uh, then image index equals 0. I guess this one is a case we don't have to account for because we'll just assume that it's a king unless it says otherwise. Image index equals 1. Let's just do this. We'll nest it in an else. Theoretically slightly more efficient because that way if it is a pawn, it doesn't have to run the check every time. Okay, what was our next one? Our next one was bishop, I think. Nope, our next one was rook. Okay. This is why I wrote it down. All right. Now, if it's not a rook, then we check bishop. 3. Then knight, b4. And finally, queen is 5. And like I said, we don't actually run a check for if it is the king. Part of that is just because I want to have a failsafe. Like obviously you want to make sure that it gets a sprite no matter what because I want to not like. Basically, I want to see if I've accidentally put an extra piece on the board and not assigned it, a type. So I want it to show a sprite, even if it doesn't have a type assigned. King, just since it's 0. So now we should be able to, we should give this a default sprite, actually. I feel like that would have actually been the easier solution, but it still is technically faster to just not check one of the possibilities. So white rook is now, or white king is now the default piece here. Uh, we're gonna make a couple copies of this just to see if it works. Oops, that's not what I wanted to do. I'm on the tiles layer. Why is this? Oh, oh, because I'm grabbing the sprite, not the object. Okay, that makes more sense. I did not want to create that. Deep breaths. Okay. Can I just copy and paste this? Why does it paste there? What is happening? Why? It's definitely faster. I just put paths inside of. What is going on? Why am I like this? Okay. Okay. Game manager, I'm going to get you off of the board. You'll go in the corner here. Think about what you've done. Okay, so I think having the pawn be the default piece makes the most sense. So we're actually going to go ahead and make type defaultly be 1. Uh, Wait, type should not be the... Alright, so that way I don't have to change the variable for any of these. So in the corner is the rook. We're gonna... Okay, this rook, knight. I don't like how you have to watch the cutscene. Bishop. Bishop, queen. King. Bishop. Knight. Rook. Alright, now when we run the game, we should see if our code works. And as we can see, is this big enough for the OBS people? Let's make it bigger. Yeah, my window's a little bit small, so it looks blurry, but you can see that we do have all of the pieces showing the correct sprites, except for the pawns. Very interesting. The pawns do not show the correct sprite. Okay, let's take a look at this. It's troubleshooting time. King 0. Otherwise, yeah, we don't have the image index. That's what I want to do after we set this. Okay. There we go. That should fix it. Now we have pawns showing up there. And now we just need to give them their board position. Now, I don't actually know the naming conventions of chess, like how they name the pieces. I know that they have like one of the sides is letters and one of the sides is numbers. Uh, so I just got to look at... Okay. So A should be from left to right. A to H, and then 8 to 1 from top to bottom. So I'll write this down in my little notes file. 1 equals white, 8 equals black. So that just tells us which side of the board it is. Otherwise, it's left to right, which is easy enough to remember. So now we could just manually assign the position variable to all of these, the board position that is. However, I think that instead, and actually we should name the variable to board position because that will be updated as the game goes on. Instead, we will simply determine its board position based on its literal position. Because the tiles are 32 by 32. So like if we look at this piece here versus this piece here, you can see they're the same y value. X is just increased by 32 for each of them. So what we will do, we will take X divided by 32. And that gives us the second half of our position name. We will make this, how do you make list? Do I want a list? Can that be converted into, no, we're not doing that. Instead, we'll give it board X and a board Y. Okay. So, in the creation code, first we actually need to make it so it assigns sprites to black pieces. Okay. Now, we will give them their board positions. So, board X equals X position, or is it just, it's just X, okay. Divided by 32. Board Y equals absolute value of Y divided by 32 of 8 minus Y divided by 32. Is that right? Let's slow down a little bit. I'm getting ahead of myself. Okay. Because up here, down here is 1 for the Y position, but as you can see, it's actually the highest Y position. Oh, wait a second. We need to add 1 to this. There we go. Okay. So down here is the Y position for this. The bottom is 1, the top is H. So if we take starting from here, 224 divided by 32, that's 7. So if we take the absolute value of 8 minus 7, that's 1. We go to the other end of the board. Up here, the Y position will be 0. Absolute value of 8 minus 0 is 8. So it looks like, yes, that is correct. I got that right. And now You know what I'm gonna do actually, instead of manually assigning the position type for all of these, only in the create event, we will assign the board positions first. Then in here, we are going to determine their piece type based on their board position at the start of the game. Okay, so if board X equals 1 and board Y equals, actually, that's not how we want to do that. Instead, we will have if board Y equals 2 or board Y equals 7, type equals pawn. The rest of them, we will eventually eliminate this function and we'll just compact it into this. Else, if board X equals 1, type equals, equals 1, or board X equals 8, type equals, what's at the ends, rook. And image index equals 2. Then again, we'll do the nested if else statements if board X equals 2 or board X equals 7. Type equals knight. Image index equals. I did this in such a nonsensical order. 4. Okay. Else if board X equals 3 or board X equals 6, then type equals bishop, and oops, image index equals 3. Then for the queen and the king, the board position, what board position corresponds to which piece depends on which side they're on. So if team equals 0, actually we can interpret team as, this is one of the beautiful things about GameMaker. You can just pass it a 1 or a 0 and it'll just determine that, or not determine, perceive that as true and false. So team, which is true, which is black, and then the queen should be on, let me look at the board. Okay, so the white queen is on this piece, which is 4, black queen is on 5. X equals 5. Or not team, which is white, and X equals, at least I'm pretty sure it's white. Nope, white is 0. So X equals 4, or team, not team, which is black, and X equals 5. Then type equals queen, image index equals, what's the queen? Queen is 5, right? Yeah. Okay. 5. And then finally we'll do the king. If team and x equals 5, or not team and x equals 4. Type equals king. And index equals not 5, it's 0 for the king, right? Now we should be able to remove this, and there's an error in here somewhere. Is type not what I called it? No, type is what I called it. What's going on here? I think it's just being strange. So we will just reopen that. No, it's okay. It is. Oh, okay. I put two equals signs. Oh, God, I did that the entire way through without noticing. Wow, that's impressive. Ah, and I did it on image index too. Holy crap. Okay. Now, oh, now there's still an error. Ah, that should do it. All right. Look at this chonker of a create method. Beautiful. Now what I want to do is to unset the type value from these and see if it can get the correct type value based on the method that I just wrote. Then we'll put in the black pieces and see if it works for them. Specifically, what I'm worried about is mostly the king and queen for the black pieces. If it works for the white pieces, it'll work for the black pieces, except for maybe the king and queen, because I might have screwed that up. Now, another thing I want to do with this project, since I'm just doing kind of some grind work now, I want to talk about. So, like I said, this is for like to be part of a larger game. Like you will have the opportunity to play chess against certain characters in the. As of yet, yep. See, look at that right there, the king and the queen. What did I tell you? They got the wrong sprite on them. So, I'll go look into that. Did I just not set the image index for those? That's the real question, because I might have just not set the image index. No, I did. This is not being satisfied. Oh, that's because I passed it the wrong variable, not x, but board x. Okay. Uh, so you'll have the opportunity to play chess against several different characters in this RPG. The RPG is the one that is being developed by Coalition, the group that I am part of, and I am the lead programmer on. You can follow our Twitter and YouTube if you want updates on that game. So the thing that I want to do is to build several different AIs for the game. Like, for example, I want one of them to be like, one of the characters to be very, like, strictly uses, like, tried and true, like, by the book strategies, like, very well researched, frequently played openers, stuff like that, instead of just always going for like what the computer would say is the optimal move. Like I want them to have a specific playstyle. I want them to each kind of essentially have a twisted idea of what the correct way to play the game is. So like they're rewarded for doing things that might not always be optimal for the sake of maintaining a specific playstyle. You know, like maybe one character, for example, might try to favor having their pieces stay in play longer as opposed to taking more of your pieces. Um, that kind of thing. So that's something that'll be later on. I expect to do several streams of this. Um, but that'll be something that I do with this later on when I'm developing the AI opponents is at first, I'll probably try just developing a standard chess AI. Um, and then I'll try imbuing some personality into different AIs. Uh, all right. How does this look? It looks like they're still using the white sprites. It's interesting. And it also, okay, it didn't set the team. Oh, because I didn't make it set the team. Uh, I can't believe I forgot to do that. Okay. Well, if chord y is greater than 5, then team equals black. Not black. It equals 1. Okay, what did I do? I did this again. What is going on? There, look at that. Look at that. And I got the order of the queen and the king correct, which is wonderful. Uh, so we've got it setting up the board correctly now. Um, yeah, that's a big milestone. Now let's allow. Okay, next thing we should do is just allow the player to move pieces without restriction. Then we'll set it to be only their pieces. Then we'll establish a turn system. And then we'll worry about move legality. Okay. Now we want the player to move the pieces, but only onto tile positions. Um, so yeah, let's have the player be able to click to pick up a piece and then click again to put it down. That's where we're gonna just start off with. So we'll go to the game manager. Uh, I don't know how to do mouse collisions. Let me pull up the manual. Okay, let me okay. So we're actually going to need to know, not in the game manager function probably. The pieces will check the position of the mouse. Uh, Object, event, step. Okay, so we'll define a region where successful is in the top left, so should be mouse X. Uh, I think for now I'll just have it so if you click on them, destroys the instance. So that way I can just be certain that the clicking thing is working correctly. Okay, so mouse X is greater than or equal to uh, now let's give it actually a slightly smaller than the actual tile box. Um, to X plus 1 plus not 1 probably plus 8. Um, there's a 32 across. It's 8 pixels, and actually let's do plus 4. And mouse underscore X is less than or equal to X plus 28, and this again, but for the Y position. Oh, you know what we can do that's going to be awesome? Okay, check this out. Team, uh, yeah, yeah. Okay, I want to make it switch which color it shows. Um, yeah, for now we'll just have it sprite index equals right black pieces if it's hovered and uh, white pieces if it's not. So this will obviously make all the pieces appear white for now. Will also allow us to see. I need to figure out how to scale up the game window. It's been so long since I did this. Window set size. I think that's the function I'm looking for. Oh, I made it the wrong dimensions. There we go. How's this gonna be then? Is this gonna... Yeah, that's a bit bigger. Okay, that's good. That's good. Let's actually even go one further up. Let's just go 1080 by 1920 because that's an easy one. And then I will fix it on OBS for you guys in 1 second. There we go. This is so much better for me. Oh my gosh. Okay. And it should be less blurry for you guys. There we go. Okay. And we can see that the collisions seem to be working perfectly. Look at that. Wow. I'm gonna roll today. Okay. Okay, so we're just gonna go ahead and take this part out, but this is how we determine if it is hovered. Right here, this method. We will not alter anything within that if functions like what it's checking. I do really like the idea of it showing the opposite team color when you hover it, though. Just that the player has a good idea that they're hovering over, like, of what piece they're hovering over. So, uh, yep, we're defining a new variable here. We're not going to actually define it in the variables section here. We're just going to go into the draw event and I guess if not hovered, we'll just say draw self else. Draw sprite. Okay, so team is black and not team is white. No, not team is black and team is white. So draw sprite. Sprite, black pieces, uh, image index, XY. Not team. Well, might be less pretty, but we are going to nest this in an else statement because that is more optimal for the amount of code that we run. Well, I guess I don't even need to do if anything in here. We'll just... Okay. Now we'll see how this goes. Concerned by that. Okay. Abort. Oh. Not sprite white pieces. I spelled pieces wrong in the same way for a second time. Subject got hovered, not set before reading it. Okay. Gotcha. Uh, I... Okay. This is just not working. Did I get the team thing wrong again? We'll just flip it over. I did. I just okay. Whatever. Whatever. Um. Okay. Later, I will make this a shader. I might even do that right now because that sounds exciting. Uh, but that will make this run faster. Um, yeah, you know what? We're just gonna jump in head first into writing a shader. Uh, this is definitely more advanced than most stuff you do. GameMaker. Um, Not gonna try to explain a lot of what happens here, but okay. Let's not worry about that one. What's the word I'm looking for? I'm forgetting what it's called when you have a variable that's passed in from outside of the shader. It's not varying. Okay. Uniform, that's what it is. All right. Uh, so this will make our code run a lot faster. Not going to bother explaining everything about how shaders work because it's pretty complicated and I don't fully understand it. But um, I will bother to tell you why it's faster, if that's any condolence. Um, Basically, shader code, which is written in uh, OpenGL shader language as opposed to GameMaker language, which the rest of GameMaker, like you write code in. Um, OpenGL shader language, or GLSL, code runs on the GPU of the computer instead of the CPU. That's also the graphics card. Um, and The thing about graphics cards that's really interesting is that they have been optimized to be really fast at doing things relevant to rendering. You know, like at they're really fast at doing specific types of math that are important to rendering um, images on the computer. Whereas the CPU is the central processing unit, it's more generalized. Um, so at specific things, only specific things, the GPU is much, much faster. And this is one of those things um, where we're gonna just invert the piece colors in here. And we'll do that. How will we do that? By having uh, um, oh, no, if I uh, What's the fourth element in a vector 4 called? It doesn't matter. We're not using transparency for this. Wait, yes, we are. There's transparency around the edges. Um, so that's determined by the. We'll just pass it 1.0 and see what happens. Okay, so we're gonna go into the draw function. Um, if hovered shader set. What did I call the shader? Shader hovered. Uh, set uniform f. Uh, you know what? We don't even need to check if it's hovered before we do this. That's the beautiful thing. This shader can just take the hovered value in. I don't know why I didn't think of that. Uh, reset. Okay, now we'll run the game and it'll probably crash. Yeah. And I'm not supposed to put a space in here. I think maybe I wasn't supposed to put a space in here. Oh, and then we need 0.0, I believe. And now it might be on a 100, which is gonna, okay, line 25. Yep, we're here. Okay. Oh, I forgot to give the. Okay. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, and this is the thing about shaders too, is because you're writing to the GPU, you don't get very good detailed error reports. I genuinely have no idea why this is happening. Um, I'm gonna put spaces again. I don't think that'll change it. GLSL is also a lot more strict on um, syntax than GML is. Um, Okay, if we take... It's time to start troubleshooting now. If we take this out, what happens? Okay. Do we need to... Have I not had a semicolon on there this whole time? Is that really what's been wrong this whole time? There's no way. There's no way that was it. Okay, that wasn't that good. I'd have been so mad. Am I supposed to be doing this in the fragment shader? Yeah, I think that was the problem. No, no, I should definitely be able to do this in the vertex shader. Okay, this is. I'm not really an expert with shaders yet, nor will I probably ever be. But I do not know what is going on here. All right, let's just. Okay, I just need the vector. Okay, so I need to include this bit of code. Yeah. Yeah, okay. Starting to understand this a little bit better now. This should build, right? Expecting a number. Okay, we're getting somewhere. Okay, where is that happening? Did I put the stuff in the wrong order? I think I put the stuff in the wrong order. Why exactly does this not work? Ah, okay. Okay, so this just makes everything white, which is what I expected that to do. Now is where we start. Okay, oops. Okay, so 1.0 minus x or y or c. Now we'll run it, and that did not work. Oh, because I accidentally went back to this. I like how it has both the American English and British English spellings of color in one. Okay, so now all of the piece sprites are just inverted. Now all we have to do is, can we give it, okay. Okay, does this build? No. Okay. Is that it? No, text color is also a vector 4. Wait, what? What is going on? Why can I not just pass you this vector 4? Will that do it? No. What is happening? It's not liking something here again, which is odd. So if we just cut this portion out and run the code, does it work? Yes, it works, draws it not inverted. Now if we, okay, it's mad at me for something in this again, which I thought I fixed everything. Do I have to say this? No. Maybe the simplest, because if I take this if statement out, does it run? Yes, it runs, inverts everything. Okay, so we just go back here and just take the hovered variable out. Gonna take this code out. Not that code, this code. That's what I meant to do. Okay, that should build. Yeah, I should have just done this from the start. Wow, all that work for such an incredibly minor optimization. That's what programming is all about, though. Got to be dedicated. So now the game highlights which piece you're hovering over. I want it to let you click down on a piece that you're hovering on and have that piece follow the mouse. Uh, is it mouse button or mouse button pressed? Wait, okay. Okay. I'll also add WASD controls to this later. Um, Mouse is a nice option if you prefer that, though, and yeah. But I'll make a little like box thing or like just a mouse that you can move around with WASD. Okay. Now we need a global variable because we're gonna only have the player be able to pick up one piece at a time. I guess we go -1. There we go. Uh, and here, and how do you pass yourself? Instance ID. So this should center the piece to the mouse. Okay, but if you move the mouse too fast, it loses the piece. So we'll just take this out of here. That I was being sneaky and I was going to make it not run as much code and therefore run faster. You'll quickly see with me that this is a strange obsession that I have with making my code run as fast as possible, even with the absolute most minuscule of optimizations. Oh, okay, that's fine then. So I guess that's not how that works. So when this was inside of here, was I only not noticing because it's never hovering a different piece? Is that what was going on? Yes, that is correct. This is funny though. I like this. Okay. Well, we'll put that back outside. Uh, but instance ID is clearly not the answer. Is it just ID? Yes, it's just ID, okay. Oh, but then the piece changes color when your mouse is not on it anymore. So, and there's a little bit less code that has to be run. And now it stays the hovered color, and you can hover over other pieces. Just a good indicator of, oh, hey, look, you're going to attack this piece. Yeah, that's nice. Okay. So now the player needs to be able to set the piece back down. So we will just copy this code. Into here. And that should let you place it down, but it does not snap it to the grid position. So, oh. Is the pressed function checking it every frame that it's pressed? I thought it was the other way around. Okay. So every time I pass over it with the mouse button, okay. Oh, okay. Easy fix, easy fix. This just goes before this in the code. Can't set it down at the moment. Oh. And I see why we can't set it down. Actually, that makes perfect sense because now this code runs after that code. So what was happening, I guess I should explain this since I'm a YouTuber now and I explain things. What was happening is that before, I would click to pick up the piece, and it would check like, was my mouse clicked down that frame, you know? Um, and then after that, it would check, hey, is this the following piece? Which it now is, and it would check, was my mouse clicked down this frame? Which yes, it was because I clicked down to pick up the piece, and it says, okay, then set the piece down. So I flipped it around, and now suddenly I can't place the piece down because it does the same thing but the other way around. It checks, was the mouse clicked down this frame? Yes. Okay, then set the piece down. Is the following piece set to nothing? Yeah. Are you clicking down on this frame? Yeah. Okay, then pick the piece up. You know? So now that's not going to happen anymore, and I should be able to pick up pieces and just put them wherever, which isn't maybe exactly the intended gameplay mechanic, but it works. We can make a little smiley face here. All right, so now I'm going to make the pieces snap to the grid. Uh, okay, so I can do it. Yes, but it's being weird about it. Which makes sense, I guess. It's just putting you in whatever piece the corner is in. So instead of uh, oh, look at that. That just broke it even more. But why? Oh, let's just okay. Now it should work. Look at that. Okay. Well, that's great progress as well. Um, I do need to find out what time my physical therapy appointment is today. I think it's like at 6 o'clock or something. Uh, but I am a bit worried about missing that, but I don't really know how to do that right now. This is not at all related. Well, anyways, on the topic of not physical therapy, now we need to check if the space is occupied. Okay, so remember the code we used in the create event to set the piece's board position. We're gonna move that code over into the step event. Uh, there it is. No, I guess we won't move it, but we'll add it to the step event. Okay, Now what we need to do is, I'm afraid of the resource usage on this, but we need to check against every other piece and see if we need to make it so that the player cannot place a piece on a position where a piece is already placed. So that's going to be done by just forecasting what this value might be. So if valid, that's just a placeholder. So this, I take out of here. All right, so now we have predicted those values before we actually set the position to them. And therefore, we therefore what? I've lost my train of thought. Oh, I was doing this so you can't place a piece on a position where a piece is already placed. Okay. With oh, that should be the case if it's your team, but not if it's the opposing team, right? And then we'll instance destroy the piece that it was placed on top of. It was on the opposite team, or we can put them over to the side on the player side. But for now, we'll just destroy them. Uh, what's the name of this object? Piece object. Okay, so here's an issue I can foresee with this code. If ID, well, we'll give it underscore these. This is how I think it's Sean Spalding denotes their vars. So I've picked up doing the same thing. So if underscore ID does not equal ID, because otherwise, if the player placed the piece in a pixel perfect position, then they could, or I guess even without that, no, they would have to place the piece in the player would have to place the piece in a pixel perfect position, and then it would trip the check. Uh, because pre-X and pre-Y would be equal to the position. Okay, so this all can go in one if statement. Then valid equals false. Okay. And we need to give it underscore team. And there will be instances. Now let me. There will be instances, obviously, where you cannot place a piece in a position where an opponent's piece is placed, such as if that would put your king in check. And that's basically it. And there will be situations where you can place a piece in a position where your piece is placed, such as castling a king, and that's pretty much it. This can be modified to account for those fringe cases later. Now we give it underscore valid, underscore pre-x, underscore pre-y, and now we run the code. So we place it down in all these empty spaces, nothing bad should happen. Place it down here, nothing bad should happen. Now if we place it on a piece of its own team, it cannot be placed. Beautiful. I'm mashing the click button and nothing is happening because the pieces are the same team. Okay. That's great. Um, now in here, I think this will be expanded into the legal move script. So actually, I will go ahead and pass all of this into its own script. Legality checker. This is where a lot of our code is going to be in this one script. And at some point, we'll have another script that also functions in a similar way by checking positions. So we'll have another script. Actually, this will be this script. This will be this script. The legality checker will be modified at some point because obviously right now you can't just pick up any piece and place it anywhere on the board that your own piece isn't. That's just like a baseline. We will preload it with information about what ways a piece can move. And that information will be used in advance to pre-check the legality of moves before a player even attempts the move in order to draw tiles on the screen, like highlighted green, of where the player can move that piece once they've selected it. Other general notes, once we make the turn function, I'll make it so it only counts the player's turn as being over if the player makes a legal move. And once the player picks up a piece, they're allowed to make a legal move or set down the piece in the same place. I think that for now, that's going to be it. I'm going to go ahead and take a break now. I'm still pretty invigorated. So it's going to be hard for me to not want to really grind this, off stream. But for now, I'm going to put, actually, first, before I go, we'll put all of this into legality checker script. And the question is, I don't remember, can I just do this? And then I guess this part, got here. Okay, I don't think I can just do this, but we'll run it and see if it works. Okay, there it goes. Okay. So we will give this the information it needs. pass this. They do not need to be vars anymore. Now instead, we'll do this. This might still crash because of the team being undefined. Yeah, the team is not defined. So team equals our ID dot team. There we go. And then at the end of this, return underscore valid. Okay, so it looks like everything works fine. We're able to place it on the opposite team, not on its own team. And we've moved all of this into a separate script. Just passing it the ID will let it check for things like team and piece type, which is going to be relevant later, obviously, because pieces don't all move in the same way. But I think, yeah, that's where I'm going to go ahead and end it for now. About 2 hours, 20 minutes into this, we've got it set up so that the board pieces are determined based on where they're placed on the board at the beginning of the match. Player is able to pick up pieces and place them down anywhere on the board that they do not currently have a piece placed. Next time, we will get into more specifics of move legality, probably create an array of like information that lets the game determine a legal a set of legal positions based on the current position. Ensure that spaces off of the board are not counted as board spaces. And that's basically all I can think of off the top of my head. At some point, we'll get into AI. I'll do a lot of research for that off stream, so there might be a good chunk of time between stream 2 and stream 3. I would expect stream 2 to happen pretty soon, though, because I'm still really interested in this. I just want to do a couple other things today, you know. But thanks everyone who popped in for the stream and everyone else who was watching the VOD. Have a nice day, everyone, and I'll see you next time. Make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications if you want to be notified when I go live with the next stream. And also, once I'm done with this project, I will cut it down into a video, just going over the highlights, probably with narration, you know, like the kind of new Poppet 1 style videos, you know, that he does, where he like undergoes a project for a couple days and he talks about, you know, how it happened with some highlights of the project. And yeah, so subscribe, turn on notifications if you want to see my next stream and the finished video. Once this is all done, make sure to follow at Coalition Group on Twitter for updates on the game that we're working on. This is going to be part of that game. And thank you all for stopping in.